after their people. Now, I look out for this, and I look out for the KFC sign, and my little girl, since she could hardly speak, knew that she looked out for it, and she's got, Mama, 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 look, it's fucking chicken, fucking chicken. Having thought that through now, she starts school in September, so I probably need to start correcting that's Kentucky chicken. But it's an absolutely great, but I don't just look out for it because I secretly am a bit obsessed with the Zinger Burger. It's a good piece of chicken, isn't it? Come on. But I don't look out for it for that, I look out for it for 3 other very, very important reasons. And that is that this man, Colonel Sanders, was utterly, utterly tenacious. He understood how truly important it was to work as a team, and he absolutely had the belief that he cooked the best chicken in the world. So born in 1890, died in 1980, had a really, really good innings. He was born into an idyllic family life, loads and loads of children, lots and lots of fun. Sadly, at 6, his dad died. His mum couldn't keep going, so she had to remarry, and she married a terribly horrible man who was abusive to both her and her children. So at 15 years old, he forged his documentation and went off to join the army to bring money in for his family. 15, he joined the army and did duty. Not only did he join the army to go and do all his duty, he also did a degree in law, which he graduated in with an honours, so he could come back and divorce his mum to get her out of that relationship, which was no easy feat in those days. So he went off and he did his army duty, and then Colonel Sanders left the army, and he thought, what am I going to do? And he did quite a few random different jobs, and he couldn't find something that really suited him. He tried sales, but it was too tough for him. So all he really remembered was this big family environment, this big happiness when he could cook for the family. So he thought, I'm just going to cook chicken. That's what I'm going to do. So he opened up a little restaurant in his house, just lived next door to a petrol station, and he stood there, and he cooked chicken during the day, and people pulled over, ate a little bit of chicken, put off. And soon, reputation grew, and they were sitting in his kitchen, sitting in his lounge and eating, and his house was always open, and he was always selling chicken. And then, eventually got enough money to be able to afford to buy his first restaurant. So he went off, bought his first restaurant by the side of a petrol station, and people came from far and wide. And they loved his chicken, and he got a good reputation. And then, all of a sudden, they wanted to make that road bigger. So it was a compulsory buyout. By this stage, he's coming up to retirement age. He's worked all his life, and they do a compulsory buyout and take his restaurant. By the time he's paid his creditors, his bills off, the bank, etc., he's left with nothing, absolutely nothing, but a clapped-out old car and $106 Social Security. This is a man who fought for his country, and he's left with nothing. So do you think he stood there and thought, oh, do you know what? I'll let the state look after me. I've done my bit. Absolutely not. He wanted to cook, so he got in his car and he drove around and around and around looking for a job. But he was past retirement, he was too old, nobody wanted him, nobody had any vacancies. He didn't really know what to do, and finally, exhausted, after 1,001 no's, he stopped counting. 1,001 people said no to him. Eventually, exhausted, no money, he walks into a diner and he just says, I'll have a coffee. And the guy there says, God, you look absolutely terrible, are you all right? He said, oh, do you know, all I want to do is cook chicken, that's all I want to do. So he said, well, mate, come back here, knock some chicken up, that's absolutely fine if that's what you want to do. So we knocked it all up, cooked it to them, and obviously it was the best chicken in the world. And they said, you know what, if you want a job, you can have a job here. And he said, I'm too old now, I don't want to work, but if I give you my secret recipe, the secret recipe they still use today, then every time you sell your chicken, I want a little bit of money. And the franchise was born, and it grew, and it grew, and it grew. In 1965, he came to Great Britain and opened up his first. In 1975, he had an unsolicited bid for several tens of millions, which nowadays would be hundreds of millions of pounds. But he didn't stop there. He didn't put it in his pocket and say, woohoo, quid's in, I've cashed up. He came over to this country, and he drove around every single franchisee and said thank you, personally. Because he understood he couldn't have done it without that team. He understood he couldn't have done it without those people. So I look out for KFC, and I look out for it for 3 really, really good reasons. 1,001 no's made him possibly one of the most tenacious and determined people. And we will need to be tenacious and determined to make this next year great. He absolutely understood the value of a team. And he came to this country to say thank you because he bought into that. And we need to act as a team. We can't have lone wolves. We need to be a force to reckon with to make sure we build on those successful numbers. And thirdly, he had the fundamental belief in himself and what he offered. Now, Royal Mail might not be the cheapest, but we absolutely are the best. It's why we win from our competitors time and time again, because we deliver. So I want to stand on this stage this time next year, and I want to say, do you know what? 2011-12 was an amazing year, but 2012-13 blew it out the water. Thank you.